Hello everyone and very good morning to all of you and welcome to our UM exclusive webinar series. For today, our topic will be exclusive opportunities at AEI, Asia Europe Institute, University of Malaya. We express our thanks and gratitude to all of you for joining us today. And first of all, I'm Chong from the Marketing and Recruitment Center, University of Malaya. And before we start the session, let me just go through some of the housekeeping announcements for a productive and fruitful session ahead. So firstly, please do not click any button before and during the webinar session, as this will be recorded. And today's webinar session will be divided into main segments, which will be the main presentation by the speakers, to be followed by the Q&A session, which we will be asking the two speakers later on. And kindly note also that the audience is encouraged to ask questions in relation to today's topic at the Q&A button down below. And once the session is over, we will appreciate if all of you will be able to share your feedback with us. So it is our honor today to have two very prominent and well-esteemed speakers for today's program, which I will later on introduce both of them. And without further ado, let me first introduce our first panelist, our first speaker, who is the Professor Dr. Sarinah Low, who is also the Deputy Executive Director at the Asia Europe Institute. So Professor Dr. Sarinah Low oversees and mobilizes the research activities at the Institute and the internationalization of the academic program, as well as handling the summer school programs at the Institute. At the university level, she is also the chair of the UM Research Ethics Committee and was previously based at the Faculty of Medicine for over 30 years and was heading the Research Management Center. She graduated with a BA from the University of Kebangsaan Malaysia and subsequently obtained both her Master of Science and PhD in Medical Psychology from the University of Surrey, England. Professor Low is actively engaged in teaching, research, service and consultancy, and her main areas of research work and interests revolve around behavioral sciences, psychosocial aspects of health and illness, sexual and reproductive health, HIV/AIDS, men's health and aging, and she has served as a consultant for both local and international organizations on her research interests. Professor Low is also a member of many learned societies. Currently, she is the president of the Asia Pacific Academic Consortium for Public Health, and also the president of the Malaysian Association for Scientific Research in Behavioral Medicine. She is also the managing editor of the Asia Pacific Journal of Public Health, indexed in both the Scopus and ISI. And we have also the executive director of the AEI himself, who is the associate professor, Dr. Jatswan Singh. He is also the director of the Center for ASEAN Regionalism, University of Malaya, CHARUM, and an academic staff member at the Department of International and Strategic Studies, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. Between 1994 and 1995, he was the visiting scholar in the Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Malaysia, Sarawak, and in 2015, a visiting professor at the University of Rostock in Germany. In addition to this, Dr. Jatswan has also lectured at a number of Malaysian government agencies and institutions, and these include the Malaysian Armed Forces Staff College, MAFSC, the Malaysian Armed Forces Defence College, MAFDC, National Centre for Defence Studies, NCDS, Special Branch School and Senior Officers College of the Royal Malaysian Police, National Institute of Public Administration, INTAN, and the Institute for Diplomacy and Foreign Affairs, IDFR, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Malaysia. Between 1995 and 1996, he served as a consultant to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Malaysia concerning the Malaysia-Brunei border issue, and from 1998 till 1999, the Ministry of Youth, Culture and Sports Malaysia on a project pertaining to the history of Malaysia's national stadiums. In 2019, he was appointed as a member of the steering committee that was tasked to prepare Malaysia's first defense white paper. Aside this, between 2013 and 2017, he has also served as the editor-in-chief for the Malaysian Journal of International Relations. His views are also often sought after by both the local and international media agencies. Dr. Jatswan's areas of expertise are conflict resolution, strategic studies, foreign policy, comparative politics, contemporary Southeast Asia, and international relations, including international organizations, international security, transnational actors, and human rights. So we have two very highly acclaimed professors with us today. It's our honor to have them here with us. And without further ado, we would like to warmly welcome both of them, and Professor Jatswan and Professor Sarinah. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Collins. Thank you for the very kind introduction. Good morning, salam sejahtera, greetings from the University of Malaya and especially from the Asia-Europe Institute. I'm Jatswan, the Executive Director of the Asia-Europe Institute. I will share some slides with all of you just to give you an idea of what we do at the Asia-Europe Institute. I will do half of the presentation and the second half will be done by my colleague, Professor Loh. Right? Let me just get to the slides. Okay. Now, just a background on this, on the formation of the Asia-Europe Institute. Just a background. The Asia-Europe Institute was basically established via the Asia-Europe meeting, which was an initiative to encourage research as well as mobility of students between Asia and Europe. So we were basically created by not the government of Malaysia, but rather by an international organization, or rather an international meeting. And in 1997, we were created as the Asia-Europe Center, and then we were transformed to become an institute as we are today. Now, this is the family of the Asia-Europe Institute, all of us here at the AEI. That is our vision. We are indeed the leading center for research and teaching on Asia and Europe in the world, in fact, not just in Asia, right? Now, this is our academic staff. If you notice, we have one of our most distinguished professor, Professor Raja Rasya, who is also a staff member, as well as the other lecturers that are shown on the slide, right? These are our academic advisors and honorary professors. If you look at it, we have a very good lineup of many prominent academics from around the world who visit us as visiting professors, resident visiting professors from time to time, and provide their inputs on how we could further move to enhance research and teaching on Asia and Europe. Now, these are some of our programs that we have at the AEI. Basically, the Asia-Europe Institute is a postgraduate institute. We do not offer undergraduate programs. We only offer postgraduate programs. And at the moment, we have 2 international master's programs and the PhD program, right? We are also, at the same time, the Yomone Center for Excellence from 2017 to 2020. And we also have been taking a number of research projects under the European Union. These are mentioned on the slide. Now, apart from that, every year is always a busy year for the AEI, with the exception of this year due to the COVID situation. At the average, we conduct at least 9 to 10 activities in each year. This include the AEI seminar series, the Ambassador Lecture Series. Now, this is something that is very interesting, where we bring members of the diplomatic community in Kuala Lumpur to come and share their insights and views with students, right? Last year itself, we had a number of European ambassadors giving talks to our students, the French ambassador, the Swiss ambassador, the Polish ambassador, to name a few. We also have the Eminent Persons Lecture Series. We have been able to draw a number of high-ranking, high-profile academics to come and deliver lectures at the AEI. We also conduct the AEI ASEM Summer School, which will be explained in a while by my colleague Prof. Loh. And of course, the Asia-Europe Conference. We are going to have a conference very soon. which is going to be held, if I'm not mistaken, in the next few months, right? So these are some of our activities. We keep ourselves busy, not just with teaching and learning, but also visits from professors, postdoctoral students, as well as visiting scholars, and as well as other events, right? Okay, these are some of our lecture series that we have conducted. If you notice, you can see that Professor Dato' Mutia Alagapa, a prominent Malaysian scholar who is globally well ranked, and there you also see Professor Amitabh Acharya, as well as some ambassadors, the French ambassador, the Swiss ambassador. So these are some of the activities that we undertake throughout the year. Frankly, we're just waiting for the situation to normalize to get back to our usual self of organizing activities. These are basically our two master's programs. The first is the International Masters in European Regional Integration, the IMRI, and the second is the International Masters in ASEAN Studies. These are our signature programs, these hallmark programs at the AEI. These programs have been there for the last 2 decades. We have just undertaken a major curriculum review to ensure that courses that are taught are relevant to the demands of the industry and market. Right? Now, this is the thrust of the IMRI program. We'll share the slides with all of you later on. And this is the thrust of the ASEAN Studies program. So the two programs focus on 2 different regions. But at the same time, we also have core courses that cuts across these 2 programs. For example, we have courses on theories of regionalism. We also have courses on comparative regionalism. So a student coming in for a master's degree here is not just exposed to ASEAN studies, but regional schemes around the world as well. So that is the cutting edge, or that is the significant point of these programs. Right? Now, these are some of the job prospects. Some of our students have gone into the academia. There's a lot of them have joined international and regional organizations, consultancy. So the doors are always open. Why? Why are AEI candidates picked up very fast? Because one of the courses or one of the modules in the program is internship. We always ensure that students undertake internship in a relevant organization. And most of these interns are later picked up by the same organizations where they had done their internship. Now, these are your entry requirements should you decide to apply. Apart from the good degree of CGPA 3.0 and above, we also do take in candidates who have a slightly lower CGPA, but that is of course subject to an interview, right? And also if you have some working experience would help, and even some publications, right? And now, I will now pass it to my colleague, Prof. Loh, who will enlighten you on the ASEM sums.
Right, thank you, Prof. Jatswan. So that's the academic program, that's delivered by, our institute. I'm now moving on to more the international perspective, of our AEI activities. One of the highlights that we would like to show here is actually our summer school. Now, as you can see from the slide here, is AEI, ASEM summer school. So really, ASEM, it came about, through the meeting of all the ministers of education. And with that, we are linked up with our Ministry of Education in running, every year, a 2 weeks summer program. So basically, like I said again, it's an ongoing initiative, and there will be one coming soon, which is, next week. And here, it's all about a balanced mobility, of students, of academics, of researchers, and academics between Asia and Europe, and of course the rest of the world as well. So basically, the main point here is to bring foreign students to Asia and further promote the balanced mobility. So the aim of our AEI ASEM Summer School, it's number one is to increase mobility of students, and also to increase collaboration with universities in Europe as well, and of course to encourage and attract visiting academics to Malaysia, and of course to partner with our universities in the some countries as well, and to create awareness in terms of socio-economic, political, cultural, knowledge of Asia and Europe. So basically, these are the aims of our summer school. These are some of the past summer school that we have. We did a pilot study. It started in 2015, and the theme is biodiversity and cultural heritage. So really, we have participants from Europe as well as in Asia, and it consists of lecture modules to supplement, our field trips. So normally we have 1 week of lectures and 1 week of field trip. Now in 2016, the theme, is on multiculturalism and multi-ethnicity in Asia and Europe. And in 2017, we had the cultural pluralism in Asia and Europe. And 2018, we have cultural diversity in Asia and Europe. So these are some of the activities, normally we bring them out for a week to expose them to cultural activities around the country, sometimes in Malacca, the historical state of Malaysia, in Negeri Sembilan. We will then have a homestay as well for them for 1 whole week of activities. So apart from this field trip, we have lectures, to complement all these outdoor activities. Just to highlight this, from Monday onwards, we have this online summer school where we link up with Trinity College Dublin, Republic of Ireland. For those of you who are interested in joining the summer school, it's going to be held this coming Monday on the 14th, 15th, 17th, and 18th September. And so we have a combination of renowned experts, speakers, both in Malaysia and as well as staff from Trinity College Dublin. And now, so what is unique about this AEI SM Summer School is that it gives the benefit of the intercultural experiences that we impart to all the participants, also the exchange of knowledge, and more importantly, the exposure to the field trips, as it comes with experiential learning. And of course, it provides the networking opportunities. So those are the benefits of joining the AEI SM Summer School. Just to highlight to you all, this is again in the pipeline coming soon. This will be held in November. The first session starts on 10th of November. And this is on intercultural management, doing business in ASEAN. And so, we are catering to executive, to businessmen, foreign expatriates who are based here in Malaysia, who are wanting to start business in Malaysia. So this is something that we're offering them, all right? And so that's about it as far as the international office is concerned, the summer school and whatnot. So do you have anything to add, Prof. Jatswan?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Just let me stop sharing this. Right, okay. Just a few quick words. Now, basically, why should you come to Malaysia to further your education? Now, as you're all aware, we are smack right in the middle of Southeast Asia. We have world-class infrastructure to actually, last but not least, Malaysia is truly Asia, right? Why the University of Malaya? We're the oldest university in the country. We're the premier university of Malaysia, and we are globally ranked at 59. We were globally ranked at 59 recently. So it's value for money. And why the AEI? Now the AEI is the leading institution on Asian and European studies. It is the place where Asian and European students actually converge. Right? So these are some of the reasons why we believe that your next destination should be the AEI, or if not, the University of Malaya. And we hope to see most, if not of you, or not all of you, at the University of Malaya. Thank you very much. And back to Mr. Collins here.
Thank you very much, Professor Jatswan and Professor Sarinah Loh, for the very I believe that our audience has been given the very comprehensive picture of AEI as a whole, and of course for the university as well. So I have several questions for both of you for AEI regarding the way forward as well as the programs offered for the benefit of the audience as a whole. So what are the outstanding accomplishments and the strength of this institute in its standing at the global level, especially in the sphere of Asian and European socio-economic and political spectrum?
Sorry, thank you. As you have noticed from the activities that we undertake, you will find that we are a one-stop center for Asian and European studies, not just in Asia, but around the world. There are not many Asia-Europe study centers around the world. Now, and we also undertake a lot of collaborative research with not just European universities, but many universities around the world. Now, we also host, the AEI also hosts the Center for ASEAN Regionalism, where we undertake a lot of meaningful research in trying to understand the varieties of regionalism around the world. Now, we can't say that regionalism is the same around the world. The level of regionalism in Europe and in Asia and in Africa is really different. And you to understand these varieties, especially the accomplishments and the challenges. So on that basis, although our focus may have been Asia, Europe, but really our courses are always geared to providing students with a broad understanding of how regions around the world operate. Now, apart from that, we also undertake a lot of consultancy, not just at the Malaysian government level, but a lot of my colleagues are consulted. Like, for example, Professor Raja Rasya, who is distinguished professor at the AEI. He's always, I mean, in a normal year prior to COVID, he's always flying around the world, giving talks for UNIDO and many other agencies of the United Nations and the like, as well as even the Asian Development Bank and things like that. So our participation is basically at many levels, not just at the regional, national, regional, but even at the global level. So this is how we have we are making our contributions, and our visibility has grown over the years because of all our activities that we undertake. Yeah. Would you like to add anything, Prof?
Yes, just to reinforce what Professor Jatswan has mentioned, AEI has always been the first port of call for all the EU delegates who are, joining Malaysia through their embassies. And they normally, will visit AEI to deliver their talks, highlighting their own country portfolio. And we have foreign ministers, as you're aware, senior officers from EU, Brussels, and of course, all those eminent professors who are actually coming to AEI. Now, AEI, it's also, our recognition is also shown, by the conferment of the John Monet Center of Excellence. And that's the only one, in Asia, and this is housed in AEI, all right? And that status that we have been given, started in 2017, and until it's for 3 years, yeah? End of 2020, but because of the COVID situation, so it has been extended to beginning of next year. And the main purpose of this John Monet Center of Excellence, it actually focuses on ASEAN and EU, from the political, from the social, cultural, and from the economic perspective, okay? Now, AEI, we have also been awarded the Erasmus Plus research grant as well, where we are heading 7 member countries from Europe and ASEAN University. And also the final thing is that AEI is also part of the ASEAN Vision and Strategic Planning 2030. So AEI actually sits in that, ASEAN under the ASEAN Education, under our Ministry of Education. So those are some of the highlights. Those are some of the strengths of AEI, both locally and internationally, particularly in the international arena. Thank you, Collins.
Thank you very much. As the premier and highly acclaimed institute, specifically for Asian and European studies, what are your thoughts on the need to galvanize this, the focus on getting the people-to-people relations, especially at the community level, for them to come together and to forge better understanding of Asian and European affairs, and how the youth can play a very prominent role in the way forward, in getting to know, in bridging the divide that might exist between these both regions, and how to foster closer collaboration in terms of research, in terms of understanding on common issues between these two very important regions.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Now, the first starting point is that these two regions, Asia and Europe, are amongst the most vibrant regions around the world. And Asia itself is an extremely diverse region, right? One cannot generalize Asia. Similarly, there is also a certain degree of diversity in Europe. Now, the whole idea of establishing the Asia-Europe Institute, and which started as a center, was precisely as you mentioned, that is to allow some degree of student mobility. Now, we need to link, we need to network the future leaders, right? The present students today are going to be the future leaders. They are going to drive the direction of not just these two regions, but rather global affairs. So it is important that we have a platform for students, not just from Asia and Europe, but even other parts of the world, to come and network and link. So that is the whole idea of actually establishing the Asia-Europe Institute. Now, obviously, the youth play a very important part, particularly students, right? Exchange of students, and as Prof. Loh has just mentioned, the summer school. Now, the summer school is a very, very important platform to create awareness about Asia, not just Malaysia. Although most of the summer schools are actually held in Malaysia, we are actually planning to host it in other Asian countries as well as other European countries. So the long-term plan is when students from Europe join the ASM Summer School or AEI ASM Summer School, what they do is they get exposure on many parts of Asia. In fact, we have one plan between the AEI and another South Asian university in Indonesia, right? So we are actually looking at ensuring that students get maximum exposure, not just in one country, but in a number of countries. Now, apart from that, we're also looking at academic programs. We are currently in discussion with one South Asian university to have a sort of like a dual master's program, where students will spend one semester in either Malaysia or the other country, and vice versa, and the third semester, the project paper writing is on their own. They can either decide to do it in Malaysia or the other partner country. So this would actually allow students to maximize or get more exposure. And so this is how we believe that AEI plays a very, very important role. And that is one of the reasons why ASEM, the ASEM education sector, mandated the AEI to conduct summer schools. Of course, there are other organizations that conduct summer schools as well. We are not the only one, but we were actually given this mandate by the Assam Education Ministers and Senior Officials meeting years ago to undertake this summer schools to start encouraging balanced mobility, right? You would like to add anything?
Yeah, just to add to that, I think due to the global issues that we are currently facing, not just in Malaysia, but around the world, issues like, for instance, the current, COVID-19 pandemic, migration issues. So therefore, I think collaboration is extremely important. Yeah, so what we are doing, at the ground level, community level, people-to-people level, the youth, so the community engagement, the empowerment, and the creating of awareness of our youth, about issues around the world. So one of the ways, again, our highlight is actually the summer program, not just apart from the lectures and what have you, it's really to bring the youth together, the young people together, to discuss issues, global issues, or issues pertaining to their interests, and to create the interaction among youths, coming from Asia and Europe. And the other thing that, when you're talking about community level, people-to-people level, we also have the European Day event as well. Every year, AEI will go to schools to educate our school kids on the relationship between Asia and Europe, and, to educate them about what EU is all about. In fact, last year, it is interesting to note that sometimes we do have ambassadors coming along with us to the school to educate, our own students, Malaysian community, about what EU is all about. So I think as far as community level is there, with all these outreach programs that we're having, with the summer school that we are having, I think AEI, has a role to play. And I think we played it right well at the community level.
If I may just add on that, we're not just sitting here in an ivory tower and just doing all the lecture series, but we are also engaging many levels of society. And we believe that it's extremely important, because really the first starting point of having good relations is to actually create an understanding of cultures around the world, of how people live and how people conduct their affairs and things like that. So we're not really confined to the ivory tower. We actually reach out to the youth, to students from other universities, from other regions and things like that.
Right, thank you very much. So you have given a very comprehensive briefing on the summer program, which leads me to this question of maybe you can mention the one thing or one element that can be the wow factor for students joining this program, particularly for the summer program, that they can build upon, and it can be of great help and added value to their future later on when they have gone through this program. What are the key takeaways for them to ensure that they have this complete holistic experience, both academically and non-academically, as you mentioned earlier?
Right, okay. So one of the main benefits, as far as the summer program that we are, I think as shown in my previous slides as well, I think there are 4 or 5 aims that we are hoping to achieve the outcome of our summer program. One of them, of course, is the increased mobility. So we allow students, with our summer program, through our summer program, we allow students to come in, and learn, the various political issues, economic issues, and the cultural issues, that is inherent, in any society. And the other one is, of course, one of the main benefits is it's the collaboration, not only Malaysia and other European countries, but of course between Asian countries as well, and also the European countries or university for that matter. Now, one of the other thing about the summer school is that we are able to attract academics, to deliver their lectures in the summer school as well. So I think these are prominent lecturers, speakers from around the world that we engage them, to deliberate on issues pertaining to the region. And what is also important is that in the summer school, we actually partner with member institutions, member university from the Assam, education. And so in the Assam education as well, we have about 60 over universities that are part of it. So we normally partner with them, to run this Assam program. So I think what is important here is to be able to raise awareness of all these 3 pillars. The political, the economic, and the social cultural pillars, in Asia and Europe. And so as to educate, our participants in these 3 areas, which is our main focus, in all the participants in the summer program. So those are the main benefits that I think anyone would get, once they participate in the summer program. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Professor Low. In view of the growing interest in the Asian region, in particular, as we have seen over the past decades, that you'll be a lot of scholars have mentioned that it will be the next platform for the global development. It will be the Asian century and all that. So, as the premier institute that is offering these world-class programs on this issue in particular, so where do you see the roles and the way forward for this institute that it can play for the benefit of the region in particular, and to enlighten the global community on the importance of the Asian region, but at the same time, trying to, as you mentioned before, to ensure that the entire global community will benefit from the rise and development of the region, and in particular for collaboration with different parts of the world as well, and in bridging the seemingly, some say, the growing divide between the East and West, and in a lot of issues. So as this institute, we have known that is a very prominent institute, and then I believe a lot of offerings that can be made to ensure that the audience and the entire community will get a lot of benefits from the programs that are being offered.
As you rightly pointed out, we are in a very interesting phase in international relations, international politics, particularly when it concerns the rise of China. The talk of scholars in international relations is, will China replace the United States as the global power? Now, this is so the issue of the center of power, the epicenter of power is obviously changing to Asia. Now, a greater understanding of Asia is very, very important because there is probably a tendency to generalize Asia. Asia is extremely diverse. Asia is one area where you have many different types of political systems being practiced, unlike the European Union, which generally practices democracy, but not in Asia. So it's actually important to understand the different divergent political systems, economic systems that are being practiced in this part of the world. Now, this is where the AEI plays a very important role in trying to create awareness and educate future generations on what is Asia all about, and how is Asia positioning itself in these global changes. So we are, in fact, also playing, apart from being a center for research and teaching and learning, we also undertake a lot of research. In fact, we bridge research between not just Asia and Europe, but even other parts of the world. We, as Prof. Loh has just pointed out, we are sort of like a one-stop center for Asia and European studies in this part of the world, and a prominent one in Asia and Europe. So this is how we play. And I think, again, as you pointed out earlier, I think it is very, very important for us to understand the global changes that are undertaking, not just in terms of the emergence of China, but in terms of the emergence of other issues like non-traditional security concerns. We are talking about irregular migration, and now, right at our doorstep, we are talking about how do we manage COVID-19? And obviously, it is extremely obvious that states need to cooperate. And this is what studies on regionalism is actually about, to look at how and why states form regional mechanisms, and why do they cooperate, and what are the challenges in enhancing cooperation and the like. So this is where the Asia-Europe Institute has positioned itself.
Yeah, so just to add to that, and this comes to the issue of sustainability, and how does AEI actually moving forward? Yeah, and so when we talk about sustainability, of course, what we would love to see in AEI is further collaboration and continuing of our relationship with our embassies here and with other key Asian and EU institutions. I think that's very important for us. So we have actually established that, and we like, to move on with it, yeah, so that in future, it is always sustainable. And the other one I think has also been highlighted by Prof. Jatswan as well, is the research, collaboration that is important in AEI. And so we have collaboration, in Asia-Europe research, yeah, through our funding, yeah, and our funding such as Erasmus, yeah, our funding through the John Monnet network, our funding to the Swiss, grant scheme, Korea Foundation, so forth and so on. So I think this is, a way in moving forward in terms of those activities, so that we remain sustainable, in the future. Thank you.
Just to add on that, our view of regionalism is not inwards, it's outward. To understand regions, one has to take an outward look. And you also need to understand how regional mechanisms act as global actors, not just as regional actors. For example, the EU as a global actor, and how the EU or ASEAN to some extent, or even other organizations, impact on other regions of the world. Now that is the emphasis, and this is what I have been I've been doing since I've taken over as executive director, to expand the horizon of studying regionalism beyond Asia and Europe, and also to link the study of regional mechanisms to look at so as to look at other regional mechanisms like how does the African continent undertakes regionalism, and even other mechanisms like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization or the Gulf Cooperation Council, things like that. So basically, although most regional organizations are really outward in looking, but sometimes the discipline is not outward in looking. I think the discipline needs also to be outward in looking in order to ensure that students get maximum knowledge on how regional mechanisms work and things like that. Although our focus, yes, our focus is Asia and Europe, but that does not mean that we do not look at other regions.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prof. Loh and Prof. Jatswan. We have two questions from the audience before maybe we end the session. The first one will be from Ong Zom Min from Myanmar. He's a student in PhD in management, currently in University of Kuala Lumpur. So we'd like to know whether AEI has any research opportunities which he can participate.
Sure, definitely. We have our contact details there. Do contact us, and definitely if we find your research relevant to the core focus of the AEI, we'll definitely get in touch with you. Otherwise, we can also link you up with other researchers around the University of Malaya. Do write to Prof. Loh. She's in charge of research and internationalization, and we'll see what we can do, definitely. But we will really need to look at what is the focus of your research. And anyway, thank you for your interest.
All right, so we have the second question from Morgan Govindasmy. She asks, do we need to have an undergraduate degree in a related field in order to join the Institute's master's programs?
You don't really need a related degree, okay? Of course, the focus of the programs is very much political science, international relations, political economy. These are the three areas where the programs are the core focus of the programs, right? You don't really need a degree related. You don't need a degree in history or something. We do take in students with degrees in science. We had students with who had degrees in engineering and did extremely well. We also had students who had done biomedical engineering and things like that. So we are quite open to the fact that this is a non-science degree, and as the entire program is a coursework program, therefore it's a highly structured program. So students are actually guided along the way when they accumulate knowledge and things like that. So we're not very particular about your degree, as long as you have a good degree around 3.0, as well as from a good institution. So we're quite open about that.
All right, we have one more question from the social media where regarding the transfer of program, whether it's possible to transfer after finishing the foundation course in UZB and to transfer to UM.
Transfer, I didn't get the question. Transfer at the undergraduate level or the postgraduate level?
It's not mentioned, but I assume it will be the postgraduate level because we only offer postgraduate at AEI.
Yeah. Okay. We are open at the moment for exchange students, where exchange students can carry their credits. We have had a number of European students coming in for 1 semester, 2 semesters, and what they do is they take certain courses that are not offered in their own university or institute. So what they do is they actually take these courses and then we transfer the credits. That's the arrangement we have. And just to emphasize another thing, at the moment, as you are all aware, due to the COVID situation, all teaching and learning is conducted online, right? So you can be resident in your country and still undergo the program. In fact, we are starting our program in October, in early October. Large number of our students are actually abroad and they are attending the program via online. That's the beauty about how the entire platform has moved from face-to-face. But of course, we would like to see you face-to-face once there is some certainty about the situation. We would like you to come and visit not just the University of Malaya, but the AEI as well as Malaysia, right? But at the moment, it's all online. So we do allow credit transfer. Now, what I suggest what you do is, why don't you write to me or anyone at the AEI, and we will look at your case and see how at best we can help you.
Right. So that will be all from the audience. And before we end the session, maybe any final words from the speakers as a conclusion?
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, all of you. And I really do hope to see most, if not all of you, here at the University of Malaya, at the Asia Europe Institute. We look forward to seeing you, and I hope the session was meaningful to all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Collins.
Thank you.
So thank you very much to Professor Loh and Professor Jatswan, who have been very instrumental in delivering this wonderful and very productive and fruitful briefing session to the entire audience. It is our hope that the audience will get the most out of this session, and they'll get the right information, and most importantly, they'll get the inspiration to specifically. And as to what have been mentioned earlier by both of these very highly acclaimed professors, they have been in their own respective fields for decades, and they have been highly, they are experts in their own field. So it's our belief that students joining the programs at AEI will get the most out of their experience on campus in AEI, and getting a very comprehensive, holistic education experience, learning a lot of different things and dimensions across the academic spectrum. So once again, we'd like to thank the audience, and we'd like to express our gratitude to Professor Jatswan and Professor Sarinah Loh for their time with us today. This won't be the last, we hope. And of course, this is the first program being organized virtually for this webinar series for AEI. And we do hope that there will be a lot of different other series coming up for AEI as well. The interest is growing now, as you can see, the growing level of enthusiasm for the research and academic program opportunities at AEI. And we believe that, of course, moving forward, AEI will be the most acclaimed institute at the regional and at the global level for global affairs as a whole, as mentioned by Prof. Jatswan, looking at the global community as a whole. So thank you once again to the audience. We are going to be in contact after this, and we're going to share the slides with you. And if you have any other questions in the future, do share with us, and we'll be more than happy to support and to assist you in your inquiries, in your application in the future. And do remember to leave your feedback after this, and wish you all the best, and wish you to have all the blessings of good health, safety, be blessed always, and see you again in the next series. Thank you very much to all of you, and see you once again. Thank you.